Hey, welcome back to our YouTube channel where we talk about all things Facebook ads. And today I want to talk to you about the 5 creatives that are killing it in 2024. I know this because these are actually ads that we are running ourselves for our clients. I have seen other ads been running for a long time inside of Foreplay, which I absolutely love using to see, competitors and different ads that are currently running. And these 5 formats are super easy, almost like too easy, and they're absolutely killing it. So before we dive in, if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Sydney. I am the owner of Vertex Marketing Agency, and on this channel, we talk about all things Facebook ads. So if ever you have a video suggestion or you want to know something, you can always drop those in the comment section below, and I'd be happy to answer you. I reply to most comments, and hopefully I can get your question answered. So let's talk about the first style that I love using. I'm currently always and probably always will be using it, and it is the story style. So you can either do this directly inside of something like Canva, but I actually prefer going directly into Instagram, going to the story mode, and actually editing my ad there. The only issue I've seen is that, let's say I send it to a client for approval, or later I realize there is a mistake and it needs to be changed. We can't really save them as drafts. So that is the biggest caveat. It's kind of a con, but I feel like the ability to edit the text and make it look really, really native to Instagram and Facebook is way easier than trying to replicate the font inside of Canva. I do have another video where I talk about native Instagram fonts and what they're called inside of Canva, TikTok, and CapCut. But really, if you want to make it look native, I find it just really easy to edit it directly inside of the story. So I am going and I'm using some of the most popular fonts. I'm gonna have a video here and we're showing you the most popular ones. So I like going into the story maker and either adding a photo that I want to use. It even could be a video, but sometimes I do find that the quality does get reduced. So I'm typically using it with images, and I'm using the font directly inside of the story creator and adding the text overlay. I can also add emojis, which can make it seem a lot more natural or native and authentic. And then I'm saving it, and ideally trying to do is use the full 9x16, but make sure all of the content fits within 1x1. This just makes sure that it's going to fit all the different placements without it being cropped or the main content being taken out by the automatic cropping, because on feeds for Instagram and Facebook, a story 9x16 does get cropped to 1x1. So I'm making it in the full size, but I'm making sure that everything fits within 1x1. It's super easy to make. You can make a ton of different variations. You can also add lots of different colors to see what does perform best. Tip: really bright, loud colors typically do perform best. Even if it's not on brand, try a bright yellow, green, even red. They tend to perform really, really well. The second format that I am seeing absolutely killing it is the sticky notes. This can either be with these small little squares, or I went ahead on Amazon, I got these giant sticky notes, which can take a lot more real estate. You can write a lot more on it without it being tiny. What you want to put on here, you want to make sure it is very catchy. It's very simple to read. The least amount of text with the most context is going to perform best, and it is absolutely killing it. A pro tip here is to make sure that you have some sort of product with the sticky note. So while you can have just the sticky note, with some text written over it, if you can have that physical product or a physical representation of that service inside of the image, or maybe you're holding up the sticky note and you see that service in the background, or let's say you replace windows, you have the sticky note on the window. Having that physical representation of that product or service is going to help a lot. I've actually tested this a ton. So that's the second one, is the sticky notes format. The third is using the Notes app. All right, so every iPhone, I feel like most people typically have iPhones, maybe Android has a version of it, I don't know, just use an Apple device, is going directly into your Notes app on your phone and using the different formatting. So the headlines, the subheadline, the text, sometimes even the mono style, I believe is what it's called. Adding some different formats in there, but having your headline or your catchy copywriting skills being used inside of that Notes app. And you can actually test out sticky notes with the Notes app, and it is absolutely killing it if you can get that messaging right. So obviously any format isn't just gonna magically work if the copywriting skills or the messaging is off. Okay, so disclaimer, not all these work if you have poor messaging, but you will need to improve your copywriting skills and your messaging for these to work. And inside of that Notes app, you can have multiple variations with maybe you're including emojis, or you're using the little circles with the check mark, or you're putting emojis at the beginning and the end of the headline. Lots of different things that you can do with it to make it more appealing to the eye. But I really feel like these variations or these formats typically work because they're so familiar and they look really, really nice and clean. All right, so the third format that's absolutely killing it this year in 2024 is the Notes app on Apple devices. The fourth format is going to be using a whiteboard. Yes, maybe go to Amazon if you don't have one, but the whiteboard is very similar to the sticky notes, where you can actually take up a lot of real estate and you can add different colors with different expo markers. Yes, get some expo markers also from Amazon. You can write a ton of different things. You can try a lot of different formats. And I almost feel like the uglier things look sticky notes. I mean, Notes app is not too bad, but sticky notes, story style, like they're kind of ugly. I've heard a lot of different creators talk about like the uglier it is, the nicer it can be. And I'm something that's true. It's like, make it ugly or don't make it at all. It's kind of something that I've been pondering lately. But with the whiteboard, you can, use the different colors, write your messaging, and ideally you can have that physical product using it. And I find this is especially useful for service-based companies. It can be a bit harder for like actual products. Let's say you sell like supplements, have that in there. But if you can include, a shot of your hand, so let's say you're holding the product in your hand, the whiteboard is in the background, that tends to perform well with a human touch to it, like actually including the human hand. If you can add emoji looking things, so like stars or big smiley faces that people can easily see, this typically makes it feel a lot more inviting, and it adds a little bit of like fun to a somewhat boring looking thing. So you can be creative with it. And what's fun is that it really it's so easy to make, so you can test this out a ton of different times at very low cost. All you need to get is that product, like the whiteboard or the expo markers once, and then you can make basically infinite variations. Something else, in addition to the whiteboard, I've also tried getting a neon board where the markers actually light up when you turn on that black light, or it has kind of like in the background here, it has a light around it, and then you write on the actual board, then it kind of lights up. Overall, typically I do find that when things are brighter, such as the Notes app, use it in the light mode, don't use it in the dark mode. Whiteboard versus like a black neon board. Typically when it's brighter, I do find that tends to perform better, so do keep that in mind. But let's move on to the fifth format, and that's actually going to be writing or printing on a regular paper. So in the same way that we're writing on the sticky notes, or writing on the whiteboard, we can actually print out our message and just put it somewhere. One idea that we're actually going to be testing out is putting it under the windshield of a car and having your message there about like, hey, this is what we're doing, like get in contact with us. Or again, window idea, sticking that with a piece of tape, like let's say green painter's tape, sticking that directly to the window, having your messaging or your offer on that piece of paper either written or printed. I'd say probably even written would be better because looks uglier. Really great ideas, but what tends to perform best is things that are out of the ordinary, are easy to understand and read, and also feel familiar. And those are things that our eyes kind of like pick up on and like to see, but it actually does perform well with your meta ads. And I actually have one last bonus one, so I guess technically it's 6, but if you stuck around to the end of the video, only those people are gonna see it. But the 6th bonus format that is actually absolutely killing it is using the Paint app on your computer. I have a Windows computer. If you have a Mac, it's probably relatively the same, but writing something with your mouse, it's gonna look really, really ugly. But using the Paint app, writing your messaging, writing your offer directly inside of the Paint app, and again, ideally having that physical product being shown is really gonna help in there. Maybe even pointing your finger, or think also about having really bright colors. That can typically help as well. But the Paint app, out of the ordinary, kind of looks ugly when it's done. It kind of catches your attention when it does go by you on the feed or on stories, and that has been absolutely killing it as well. So that's a 6th bonus tip. So those are the 5/6 different formats that are killing it in 2024. If you've noticed, a lot of those are actually image based. Not that UGC is dead. I think a certain type of UGC still can perform well, but I'm seeing that images are actually performing really, really well this year. So it doesn't take that much hard work to make good ads that convert. But what it really comes down to, especially for these 5/6 different formats, is the messaging and the offer. Obviously, I'm a huge advocate for using AI. I think in some cases, this can definitely be one of them, where you can help with those very short sentences that have a lot of context, that are easy to understand, that you can easily write, and visually you can tell exactly what they mean, what they're talking about, and understand what that offer is. So use AI if you need to. I use ChatGPT. Would highly recommend the paid version. It is worth it. Don't use ChatGPT 3.5. It is outdated. You need the 4.0. That is my tip. And that is it for today. I hope that helped. Let me know in the comment section if you have tried out any of these formats, or if you will, or if you need clarity on any of them, and I'd be happy to answer that for you. All right, that is it for today, and I will see you in the next video.